Am I wrong for telling my husband I told you so and laughing at him when we got the paternity test results? I, 27 female, have been married to my husband, 28 male, for 2 years and gave birth to our daughter 5 weeks ago. What happened was that our daughter came out with blonde hair and pale blue eyes, while my husband and I have brown hair and brown eyes. My husband freaked out at this and refused to listen to my explanation that sometimes babies are born with lighter hair and eyes that get darker over time. He demanded a paternity test and threatened to divorce me if I didn't comply, so I did. After my daughter and I got home from the hospital, my husband went to stay at his parents' house for the first 3 weeks to get some space from me while I recovered, and he told them what was happening. My mother-in-law called and informed me that if the paternity test revealed that the child wasn't his, she would do anything within her power to make sure that I was taken to the cleaners during the divorce. Oh my God. This man ran to his mother, and his mother called you. Oh, enough said about this guy. To the cleaners. Man, this is not the 80s. Please chill out. I had my sister to lean on and help me take care of the baby during all of this. We got the test results back yesterday, and my husband came home to view them with me. I was on the couch in the living room, so he sat next to me and we started to read the results. They show that he was the father, and my husband had this shocked, kind of mortified look on his face with his eyes wide as he stared at it. I couldn't help but say, "I told you so," and started laughing at the way he looked. My husband snapped out of his shock and got mad at me for laughing at him. We argued for a bit, which was mainly him yelling at me, before my sister came downstairs and my husband shut up. After that, my husband went back to his parents' house to clear his head, and 2 to 3 hours later, my mother-in-law called to scold me about laughing in my husband's face because apparently it was kicking him while he was down. No, kicking you while you're down is going through 9 months of pregnancy with someone who's supposed to be the love of your life just to push the baby out and for them to question if that baby is theirs. They question your fidelity. That is kicking someone when they're down, okay? She's also left a couple of nasty texts essentially saying the same thing this morning. I don't think I'm the asshole, but I'd like outsider perspective on this.
Am I the asshole for refusing to give my wife of 10 years another baby? I, 46 male, and wife, 38 female, have been nagging me nonstop about having another baby that I don't want. For a little bit of insight, I already have 7 children before I met my wife. I have 4 of them living with me full time, and 3 of them I have split custody with.
A lot of kids.
When I met my beautiful wife, she had a 4-month-old daughter that I absolutely adore. After we got married, we had a few children of our own, so our life is pretty hectic. We're finally at a point where we're stable, where I don't have to work as much and can be home with the family more. I'm so overjoyed because I didn't really get the option to spend much time with them. But now I can. My wife went from suggesting to demanding to us fighting all the time about having a baby, to her complaining that she's always wanted 5 children and that I was taking the dream away from her. My wife also said that our 3-year-old is getting too big and that she would like to have a baby now before she gets too old. And what's it to me on having another one when I already have 7 before her, and giving her another baby is the least that I can do. Especially because she raised my children, taking the best years of her life away from her. That she didn't even want to take care of them. She only did it out of obligation to me. I was very hurt when she said these things, especially about our children, because some of my children were really young when we got together, and they call her mom. I tried to explain to her these things that she was saying was hurtful, and it wasn't fair for me to have to go back to working more to provide for another baby, especially when we already have a 7, 5, and a 3-year-old together. On top of having a 10, 13, 16-year-old and an 18-year-old living in the house while trying to help our 21-year-old move out, telling her that we already have so much on our plate and adding another baby right now just isn't a good idea, on top of the fact that she almost died giving birth to our youngest. We both had to go to therapy because of it, and now she wants another one. It blows my mind, which turned into a bigger fight. Her saying some really mean things that I really didn't want to repeat, just in case my children read this. My wife yelled at me and called me the biggest a-hole she ever met. Not to talk to her because it seems to be a waste of time. She is now gone and is staying with her mother as of right now. I tried texting and calling her. She's not responding. It's been 3 days since then. I really don't know what to do. I can't give her a child, even if I wanted to. I couldn't. I had a vasectomy after she nearly died giving birth to our youngest. I never thought we were going to have a baby after all that we went through. Am I the asshole? So, update. I don't know how to do this update thing, but this is how I'm going to do it. To be honest with you, I really didn't think this would get very minute responses, and I truly appreciate everyone's feedback and advice. especially all the positive ones. I do appreciate the mean ones too. They give me a new point of view on things. I'm going to answer some of the most asked questions. Yes, my wife did leave me home alone with all the children when she left. Yes, we did discuss how many children we would have. Actually, it took us about 3 years of discussing it, and we decided to only have 1 or 2. Our third was a happy/terrifying accident. As for the vasectomy, I did not directly tell her. A lot of people are asking how she wouldn't have known that I had a vasectomy. She left me at that time. The reason why we went through therapy was because I refused to be intimate with her. To be honest, I was terrified of getting her pregnant again and then her dying. Those were some pretty hard times. Our therapist suggested one of us or both of us getting fixed. I thought that was a brilliant idea. My wife, on the other hand, thought it was a little bit extreme. But I did what I had to do to fix my problem. We also went to great depths on discussing having another child. We both decided that her life was way more important and we wouldn't have any more children. So when she said she always wanted 5, I had no idea where that came from. I do plan on having a family meeting with the older children and discussing these things with them on how she treated them and seeing how this goes. Hopefully it goes well. I'm a little bit nervous. I did hear from my mother-in-law. She told me that my wife wasn't coming home anytime soon, but she will see me at my mother's Thanksgiving. I did take the week off due to my wife not being here so I can take care of my children. On a side note, my daughter E, the 21-year-old, has been acting weird. After R, the 18-year-old, showed her my Reddit story, E asked me if she could talk to me privately after the family meeting. I did try to persuade her to tell me now. She said that she didn't have enough time and she had to get going for work. Needless to say, I'm really stressed out. So that's the first update.
Am I the asshole for not leaving my wife so that my daughter could live with me? Maybe, but I've learned my lesson. We're not going to jump to any conclusions. We're going to read it and we're going to find out. My wife and I have been married for 7 years. We both have 15-year-old daughters. My wife's daughter has lived with her dad her entire life. My wife is an excellent mother, but her ex was moving across the country. She knew that he could give her a better life than she could. 2 years later, they moved back to his home country, approximately 12 to 18 hours from us by plane. They flew my wife out to visit them a few times a year, and they've also sent her daughter to visit us during her summer vacation. He got a job approximately a half an hour from us, so we've had her 50-50 for the past few months. The thing is, we have a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house in a good neighborhood. My daughter's had her own room her entire life. She didn't take it well when she heard she had to share. She's tried blocking my stepdaughter from their room. She threw her stuff out the window and tries to make my stepdaughter uncomfortable so she'll leave. What the fuck? Last week, my stepdaughter came over. She sat on her bed and almost immediately ran out coughing and covered in a rash. My wife had to use her daughter's EpiPen and called 911. We didn't have a car at home. She and her ex got into a fight at the hospital and she got kicked out. Her ex is refusing to allow my stepdaughter back into the house. The ex is legally able to do this because he has full custody of her. I honestly wouldn't allow my daughter to go back to y'all house either because my baby just went over there and clearly had some type of allergic fucking reaction. And if y'all don't know what's going on, she can't go back until y'all get to the bottom of this. What happened? We have a camera to monitor the dogs, and if the bedroom door is open, you can see into the girls' room. We also have just moved the camera, and we haven't gotten around to telling my daughters yet. We decided to check the cameras, and we saw my daughter bringing nuts into the room and eating them on my stepdaughter's bed before touching everything my stepdaughter owns. My stepdaughter is deathly allergic to nuts. Nuts are not allowed in the house, but you're allowed to eat them in the garage, and you have to scrub your hands before you come back in. No, sir, you are not the asshole. Your daughter tried to unalive this little girl, all so that she wouldn't have to share her room. No, I don't think you're the asshole at all. My wife, understandably, was furious when she saw it. She stormed into the girls' room and started screaming at my daughter. She told her to get the fuck out of her house. I talked my wife into letting my daughter pack a bag, and I arranged for my brother to come and pick her up. My wife is adamant that my daughter is no longer allowed to step foot inside her house. We filed a police report. The plan is for her to stay in a group home or a boarding school for the next couple of years. Did you guys try to figure out why she felt so strongly against this girl sharing her room for the small amount of time that she's around? Or did y'all immediately ship her off? Because if you didn't bother to try to find out why, that 100% does make you an asshole. Like, because kids don't just try to unalive their step siblings because they don't want to share their room. Like, there's got to be something wrong. And sending her straight to a boarding school, I don't think is going to help that. My family and my daughter's mom are pressuring me to leave my wife so I don't have to send my daughter away. But I'm refusing to leave, and I agree with my daughter's punishment because she nearly unalived a person and caused my wife to lose her daughter. The ex isn't letting her back to the house. Now I'm being called a bad parent by everyone except my brother. He's putting her to work on his farm until we can find a more permanent arrangement. They're telling me that I'm terrible for choosing my wife over my kid. Am I the asshole? Your family and your daughter's mom are all idiots. They are, because they want you to leave your wife so that your daughter doesn't have to get sent away. Girlfriend's going to get sent away either fucking way, because this is not normal behavior. This is not normal behavior. She's lucky she hasn't been charged with attempted murder yet. Like, this is not okay. Absolutely not, sir. I said it before, but I don't think you're the asshole, because your daughter 100% needs to be punished for this. And instead of you enabling her like her family and her mother are trying to do, you're trying to make her face the consequences. The one thing that I suggest is some serious therapy. Girlfriend needs some serious freaking therapy, because why? Like, who does some shit like this? Like, I get being mad, trying to stop her from coming into the room, throwing shit out the window. I've done it all. But I've been mindful of people's allergies, and I would never. So, like, why? What is going on in her head that made her think that mess was okay? 15 years old, we need to find out what the hell. Just why? I know that a lot of people are going to feel some type of way about you sending your child away. And I've looked at your comments, and, you said that you're trying to get her into a group home or a boarding school for troubled teens. And you're going to make sure that you're not sending her to any of those camps where she can actually, end up being abused under the guise of helping. Like you said that you are going to make sure that she's in a safe place so that she can get the help without being a risk to anyone or herself. And I want to tell you that a good parent knows and can acknowledge when they need help. When they need help, a good parent will know that in order for you to get better, I'm going to have to separate us. And I don't want to, but this is the best thing for us right now. Don't let anyone tell you that you are a bad parent for doing what you know needs to be done. You know that this is not okay and this is not right. And you also know you can't handle this by yourself. Do what you need to do, but make sure she's in the best hands possible, because terrible things happen to kids who are sent away to schools and things for troubled teens. So just make sure that she's okay, because I truly believe that you're not doing this to get rid of her, that you do want to help her. You do want to get her into therapy and to make sure that y'all can get down to whatever the nitty gritty is about this situation. I truly believe that you do. So, like, don't let anyone tell you that you're being a bad parent for doing this.